Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin, wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya al mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Alhamdulillah, we are going to chapter 5 of our book on the positive Islamic psychology model, or Islamic psychology model, which we are developing based on our understanding of the concept of our existence on this earth. Remember, this model, I have extracted it from the writings of great scholars like Imam Ghazali, Ibn al-Qayyim, Ibn Miskiyah and all the rest, and I have put it in a graphical film form so that inshallah you can understand this. Because if we talk about secular materialistic psychology, we are talking only about the brain. It's not even the akal. The akal here we have, remember, in Islamic psychology we have 4 realms of existence. That means the realms of the roh, the spirit, alright, spirit, the realms of the heart, qalb, or your emotion, the realms of your mind, or akal, where you have both the mind, you have both the 2 realms, the realms of the conscious and the realm of the subconscious and the realm of the supraconscious. Alright, so we can talk about the mind, and then we have the realm of the physical. This is as we exist on this earth, the physical, the jasad, the body, and our self is interaction of at least 4 realms of existence. Alright, so this is the Islamic understanding of our nature, of our roh, our qalb, our akal, our jasad, and our nafs. Our nafs is an interplay of all these 4 dimensions as we live on this earth. In the realm of Azali, before we came into this earth, it is an interplay of the 3 realms. That is a S.E.M.P, the spiritual, the emotional, the E, and the akal. So this is the S factor, this is the E factor, this is the M factor, this is the P factor, S.E.M.P. I'm giving it to you graphically so that you can understand. But the secular psychologists say, okay, we have the mind, okay, our mind. They now agree, because even previously they say it's only the brain, anything more than the brain. But the secular psychologist now has this dilemma of this hard question: what is consciousness? Can they answer? They can't answer. You ask the greatest psychologists in the world with the greatest scientific paper, they can't answer. What is consciousness? Where does your memory reside? They have no answer. You mean is your memory is in the brain? Which part of the brain, which neuron is taking this factor of your brain? So from our perspective, the brain is just like a receiver. It's not a transmitter. It's receiving information from the realms of the roh, the realms of the spiritual, the higher hierarchy, the supraconscious, the realms of the akal, the conscious and the subconscious, and the conscious itself, and the realm of the heart from the qalb, which Allah has created, the nature of feelings, emotions and thoughts, and then the realm of the physical as we interact with this dunya. Alright, so this may be a little bit complicated, because basically people will say, how do you know that this realm beyond the physical? That means if you talk about the physical, you're talking about the brain here, this akal, this aspect of your brain, your neuron, the more than 100,000 neuron cells is residing in your brain, this gel up in your head, and everything is that only. But for us, that is a small quantum of our existence. This is the quanta of the physical brain. Beyond the physical brain, we have the conscious, the supraconscious, which is linked to the supraconscious is linked to the spiritual, and it is linked to the heart. Alright, so the S.E.M., our S.E.M. is the 4 aspect that is beyond space, beyond time, the spiritual, emotional and mental, as we talk at the higher realms of existence, plus the P. This P, this physical realm, is within time and space. So how this interaction is something that we Muslim psychologists, scientists, neurologists will have to find the answer. But as I say, I mean, this is just new sciences. I'm going to show you a new video, another video, on showing the 7 dimensions of existence. They're talking about your brain. So we're talking about, in the Quran, Allah tells about the 7 realms of existence, Sab'a Samawat. That is now we can allegorically or metaphorically explain our brain from the 7 realms of existence. And I'm going to give you a 3-minute video for you to understand, and I'll explain to you what it means, inshallah.
The human brain is one of nature's most complex structures, and scientists are still a long way from understanding its mechanics. But a new study has come one step closer to unlocking its secrets by unraveling its immense complexity. The research has revealed that the mind is home to shapes and structures that have as many as 11 dimensions. And understanding these structures could help us to reveal exactly how memories are formed. The research used in-depth computer modeling to understand how brain cells organize themselves to carry out complex tasks. We found a world that we had never imagined, said neuroscientist Henry Markram, director of Blue Brain Project in Lausanne, Switzerland. There are tens of millions of these objects even in a small speck of the brain, up through 7 dimensions. In some networks, we even found structures with up to 11 dimensions. The complex geometric shapes form when a group of brain cells, known as neurons, merge to make what scientists call a click. Every neuron connects to its neighbor in a specific way to form an object with complex interconnections. The more neurons that join in with the click, the more dimensions are added to the object. Shapes that are 3-dimensional have height, width, and depth, like any object in the real world. The objects discovered in this study don't exist in more than 3 dimensions in the real world, but the mathematics used to describe them can have 5, 6, 7, or even 11 dimensions. Outside of physics, high-dimensional spaces are frequently used to describe complex data structures or conditions of systems. For instance, the state of a dynamical system in state space, Professor Cees van Leeuwen, from KU Leuven, Belgium, told Wired. The space is simply the union of all the degrees of freedom the system has, and its state describes the values these degrees of freedom are actually assuming. The researchers used a type of maths called algebraic topology to model the whereabouts of these structures inside a virtual brain created using software. To test their model, the researchers then carried out experiments on real brain tissue. They found that the virtual brain could be stimulated to form structures with progressively higher dimensions. In between these structures were multifaceted cavities. The appearance of high-dimensional cavities when the brain is processing information means that the neurons in the network react to stimuli in an extremely organized manner, said Ran Levi from Aberdeen University. It is as if the brain reacts to a stimulus by building and raising a tower of multi-dimensional blocks, starting with rods 1D, then planks 2D, then cubes 3D, and then more complex geometries with 4D, 5D, etc. The progression of activity through the brain resembles a multi-dimensional sand castle that materializes out of the sand and then disintegrates. The big question the researchers are asking now is whether the intricacy of tasks we can perform depends on the complexity of the multi-dimensional sand castles the brain can build. Neuroscience has also been struggling to find where the brain stores its memories. They may be hiding in high-dimensional cavities, Professor Markram said.
Alhamdulillah, from this 3-minute video, you have seen that the brain structure has at least 4, 5, 6, 7 dimensions. So most probably what Allah tells us about this dimensional aspect of this existence, the creation of this universe of 7 dimensions, are 7 realms. That means it's not 3-dimensional, just this is 3-dimensional. You have the 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th dimension. And the brain actually is a multifaceted dimensional object. Why it is created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It doesn't come just out of thin air. It came from this command of Allah. Innama amruhu idza arada shay'an an yaqula lahu kun fayakun. When Allah explicitly created this human brain, it has given this human brain this dimensional capacity at the three-dimensional aspect of our neuron that we can see through our functional MRI or our PET scan, whatever scan that we want to use. We can see that the three-dimensional aspect of our brain. But the function of the neuron and the interconnections of the neurons and the atomic structure, the subatomic structure, the quarks at the highest, at the lowest level, the energy are traveling beyond space, beyond time. At the spiritual level, Allah has created the spiritual that we are not living in space and time. We are living beyond space and time. How that is being manifested? Alhamdulillah, modern science is now trying to find an answer. Just like this project, they are trying to find the answer within the brain itself. What about the universe? Because if you look at the universe, the exact replica of the neurons of the brain is also replicated in the universe. You take the picture of the map of this universe, all the structures are just like neurons. And what is it? Wallahu alam, we do not know. So what is important is for Muslims, when we say that we have and exist in our function of the brain beyond just the physical material being, but being influenced by the spiritual, the ruh, the qalb, the akal, that affects our brain and affects our physical existence, and vice versa. We should be confident, we should be assured that this is the truth. Innama amruhu iza arada shay'an an yaqula lahu kun fayakun. That is where Allah created it. And then Allah tells us, وَقُلْ جَالْ حَقُّ وَزَحَكَ الْبَاطِلِ إِنَّ الْبَاطِلَ كَانَ زَهُوقًا. So this is the truth. So our truth is transcend just the physical understanding of our existence. So Muslims should not be shy or afraid to explain. So Muslim psychologists say, oh, you talk about the spirit, where is your proof? The same thing as I say, if you talk to a secular materialistic psychologist or a neuroscientist, where is your consciousness? You have no answer. Where is your memory? Where is the nature of your being? You. The hard question, they cannot answer. So we should not be shying away from challenging these atheistic challenges that we are facing. Definitely we're going to face this. Our children are going to face it. But how we can explain and elaborate from our understanding of our great scholars. They have been given inspiration. Allah inspired them, like the great minds of Imam Ghazali. These are inspiration beyond the books reading. It is something at a higher level. All right? This is not wahyu, but this is ilham at a higher level. All right? For us to understanding all these things. So, inshallah, we should be strong in our belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We'll be strong in defending that within the understanding of the human self. At least, I'm explaining, we have the 4 realms as mentioned by Imam Ghazali. All right? This is, the S.E.M. exists in the spiritual realm. The P exists in the physical existence. So the spiritual existence, the physical existence, and all this model they are talking about, the nafs, comprising of the interaction of the spirit, the qalb, the akal, and the jasad, is something that is true, inshallah. I open this question and we are giving you some proof, and in this way, inshallah, those of you who are interested in neurology or psychology or psychiatry or the study of the brains or the study of the universe, cosmology, you can see that the micro reflects the macro, or the macro reflects the micro, and whatever that Allah has created, maybe this universe is a great mind, wallahu alam, I do not know, all right, because the structure looks the same. But these are just maybe my speculation. But what is important is that we have the nas, or the ability to counteract this atheistic, secular, mindless ideology of the 21st century. And we know that we are created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, living within His grace, His mercy and love. And He created us as His sincere servant and His Khalifah on the earth. Always striving to upgrade ourselves, to make ourselves good, helping others to be good, and making the world good, inshallah.